folks, I'm Harry Vanderwide. Hey, congratulations. You've done at least 2 good things. The first thing you did was buy the Stepp Ladder. That's a real fine move. The second thing you did was find the VCR tape we had in there, got it in your machine, got it playing, or you couldn't see me. So, double congratulations. Hey, listen, I just got my own Stepp Ladder. It's right here. We're going to go through this together, learning how to use this thing. But don't worry about it. I've taken care of it. I've got Jim Stepp here with me. Jim's the guy who not only invented this critter, he makes them. And wait till you see how well he can demonstrate it. So, Jim, what have I got here in my box?
Well, first, let's show you this. This is called the instruction manual.
Ah, good thing to have.
We'll maybe refer to that a little later on if we don't accomplish what we want to with the video.
I see, okay.
The next thing we have is the canvas bag.
Oh, it's a good-looking bag and a nice-looking logo you got there.
Well, it's more than just a logo, Harry. Actually, that's the loop that you use to put these things on.
Ah, pretty clever. So if I lose my manual, I still can figure out how to do the loop.
Exactly right. I'll show you how those go in there in just a second.
Okay.
If you'll hang on to that box,
Got the
Harry,
box.
I'll lift these out.
Okay.
This is a complete set of rungs.
Okay.
Now, that's a set of 8. That's a 16-foot ladder. Each one of the rungs has a retainer that's fastened all the time.
I call that a rope, Jim.
Well, we'll call it a rope then.
Okay. Good, strong-looking rope, though.
Yeah, that's really rugged rope. That's got a tensile strength of 2,200 pounds.
Oh, boy. I'm not going to break that, am I?
No, I hope you don't. Okay, now this bag is special in a couple of ways. One is that the nylon strap that's the shoulder strap is also a suspender for the rungs.
Ah.
Let me show you how that works.
Okay.
You take the entire set of rungs and you slip them so that the
Picky end.
picky end, attaboy,
I got it. Yeah,
the
I see
picky
that.
end fits in behind that strap inside
Right.
the bag.
I gotcha.
The reason we did that was to keep the set of rungs from going through the bottom of the
Oh,
bag.
of course, because eventually that would wear right through the canvas, wouldn't it?
Well, it wouldn't take very long, actually. That's a fairly sharp point, Harry.
Okay.
So all you do is slide them down
Good.
so that the strap is supporting them.
Leather reinforces here.
Right, that's to protect the canvas
So
bag
you want to
from,
make sure that's over these pickies.
from the standoff.
Gotcha.
That's just right. Let's zip this up.
Right.
We gathered a little
Ah.
material at the top here, Harry, so that if you inadvertently tip the thing upside down, your ladder won't fall out of the top of the bag.
So this just slings over your shoulder.
That's all there is to it.
So now the thing is, we got it in the bag.
We got it in
We
the
now
bag.
got to get it on the tree.
We got to get it on the tree.
All right.
You
now,
slip your
shall I
shoulder through
take
that.
it? Okay.
Absolutely. All right.
Let me bring the instruction booklet just in case.
Well, that's a good idea.
Jim, can I go up this hemlock?
Sure you can, Harry.
Well, how about this spruce over here?
No reason why not.
All right, there's a nice looking beech. Can I go up that one?
Yes, you could go up that beech tree if you like.
I mean, I can go up any tree I want.
Well, almost any tree, Harry. The one stipulation is it has got to be a live tree.
Ah, okay.
You want to be sure that it's not dead. But I've got just the perfect tree, Harry.
Really? Oh, I see, Jim. It's an oak. And we're going to take an oak because it's straight and strong and easy for me to get up, right?
Well, all of those, Harry. But the single most important thing about this particular tree is that it's right over the deer trail.
Oh,
And I
get
like
it,
to
Jim.
be right over the deer trail.
In other words, we can pick the tree that's in the right place rather than worrying about the right tree.
Just right.
Okay, Jim, we got the tree. I think I know what comes next. I give the tree steps to you so you can show me how to do this.
Fair enough, Harry. Just fine. Really, they're very, very easy to put on.
Okay.
We unzip the bag just enough so that we can get them out the top. We'll draw them out just one at a time.
Huh. I could do that part.
I'll bet you could. We go around the tree with the retainer, with the rope, through the V, up behind the rung, and down under the rope. That's all there is to it.
Oh boy, that was simple, wasn't
Very,
it?
very easy. Take the slack out. We lift it up. Well, let's take a little more slack. Lift it up until these points are about even with the rope,
Okay.
and lock it on.
There it
That's all
is.
there is to it.
Well, that took a good 10 seconds.
Oh, you can once you learn how to do this, Harry, you can put them on in a hurry.
A lot easier than putting one of them screw-in steps into this tree, I'll tell you that much.
Oh,
and of
it
course,
sure is.
much more legal most places now, too.
I space them about 2 feet apart. Again, just up behind the rung, that's all there is to it.
Okay.
Take the slack out,
Gotcha. Pin it to the tree.
right? Typically what I tell the guys to do is to try to get that so tight that you cannot lock it over. It's almost impossible to pull over. And then push just a little bit of slack in the knot here.
Just a hair in, huh?
Okay, so now they're roughly lined up right here.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you simply cam it over. That's all there is to it.
Beauty. 2 on in maybe 20 seconds, and he's really going slow. I know he can do it faster.
Okay, now we'll do the third one, Harry.
Okay.
That one's just about at your forehead.
Now go slow on this knot for me, Jim, so I can make sure I get it.
Okay. I tuck this right through. That's actually the end of the rope. And
Yeah.
I take the end of the rope,
Okay.
and I tuck it up behind the rung,
Behind the rung,
and
yeah.
I just roll it under.
I got
I roll it over to myself, just
Okay.
like that. The idea behind that loop, Harry, is there's always more pressure pinching the rope right here than there is pulling the rope over the top, you see.
Gotcha.
So as the pressure increases in here, it pinches tighter and tighter right
And
here.
it isn't gonna slip.
That's just right. It always pinches tighter there
Okay.
than it does pulling on this. Again, we bring these up so they're just about even with the rope as it comes around the tree. And as you watch this thing, I'll try to come over fairly slowly, and you'll see it'll go by center.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go a little higher.
Yeah.
There
it
you
is.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all there is to there.
Jim, they really seem to be on there tight. Do I need to check them to see if they're all right after it snaps?
Oh, well, really you don't, Harry. The only thing you might want to do the next time you come in to use your stand, you might find one that moves around just a little bit because there is some stretch to the rope.
Oh, okay. So if we've left it on and gone home and come back.
Exactly.
Check, make sure.
Then you might want to check them.
Okay. Okay. Well, we get the 3 easy ones on, Jim.
3 easy ones, but you know what I've done? I came away from the truck and forgot the single most important piece of equipment that I have.
Oh,
That's
no.
my safety belt.
Jim, you're in luck. You're with the right guy. I just happen to have voluminous pockets, and in one of those pockets, I just happen to have a safety harness.
Good for you, Harry.
Hey, very important thing to have anytime you're going up a tree. But I guess with this system, this thing is almost crucial, right?
It's absolutely crucial, Harry, because you need both hands to attach these.
Ah.
You've got to be able to stand on the tree, against the tree, and you've got to have both hands available to you to lock them on.
Okay.
So let me slip my belt on here, and I'll step up on the first rung. The reason I told you that each one is as easy as these that we put on the ground, Harry, is because one of the nice features about this is it gives us a place to put both our feet at the same level
Boy,
at the
that
same
is.
time.
You're a very solid base, aren't you? But leaning back. Oh, wait. I'm beginning to see here what's happening.
I'm very, very comfortable. I just
Yeah.
take the slack out of this.
Yeah.
I lean back into the belt.
You got 3-point suspension, 2 feet in a rope.
Exactly.
Worked great. Now look at how you are. You're absolutely right. You're just as stable as you were before, right?
Just as if I'm standing on the ground, Harry.
All right. Let me time this one here. Let me just see how long this takes. Okay. I can see this is no harder than when you were standing on the ground, Jim.
No, it absolutely is not.
And it probably takes you just as long, which looks to me like something on the order of 6 or 7 seconds to get one of these on a tree.
It really is very, very easy to do them, Harry. That's all there is to it.
Boy, look at that. Well, Jim, it sure looks easy enough to me.
Well, they really are easy, Harry. It's a very, very simple system to use. They're easy to put on and they're easy to take off. Here, why don't you give it a try?
Oh, geez. Okay. But you're going to have to probably walk me through this, Jim.
I'll be glad to do it.
Something new. All right. Now, I know you made it look awfully simple. Here we're going to find out if I can do it. You know it's simple. Okay, if I remember this correctly, it's easy enough. Pass the rope around the tree, come through the V, and then up under the arch, over the bar,
Yeah,
back down through the loop I just made.
that's it.
Now I need to tighten this up just a hair,
Yeah.
maybe a little more. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
How am I looking so far?
Well, pretty good, except you made one critical error, Harry.
Oops. Okay, what's that?
See, Harry, you had the rope on the inside of this standoff like
Okay.
this. And what's important, it will never lock if you do that. You see what happens when you can't get it to come over center.
It's got to be on the other side of
It
that
has
bar.
got to be on the outside
Gotcha.
of
All
that.
right.
So why don't you give it a whirl again?
Okay.
Try
We'll
one
give
more
it a
time.
shot. I put the rope around the tree. I put the rung on the tree. I come through the V part, back up under the arch, and then down through the loop over the bar.
Exactly right, Harry.
Boy, that seemed pretty easy. Okay, now I gotta get the slack out, so I just pin that up against there like that.
Yep.
And I pull my slack. Now, is that tight enough, Jim, or do I need a little tighter than that?
Well, it may be, Harry. What
All
you
right.
need to do is feel for what feels right to you.
So you begin tilting a little.
You begin tilting
I
a little
see.
and
And you're going to develop a feel for
And you'll-
whether it's not enough or not.
Exactly right.
How am I looking?
That feels pretty good.
Let's snap her over and see what happens. Oh, right in place.
Right there.
Okay, Jim, I got it on. No big problem. What if I got it in the wrong place? I want it over that way a little bit.
Well, that's one of the really neat things about these, Harry. It's the simplest thing in the world just to unlock it and put it wherever you want. You can put it, you can spiral them on the tree. You can do whatever you want to with them.
I can see another problem that could develop. I had the rope too tight, let's say, and I couldn't actually cam it over. What about that?
Exactly. What we'll do is we'll take so much slack out of that we can't possibly cam it over.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very easy to fix. All we do is just back a little bit of slack into that corner right there.
Gotcha.
And again, feel for the tension. Be sure that the standoffs are roughly even with where the rope comes around the tree. And then cam it over.
Well, I told you I could do it. Hey, listen, if you think you're still going to have trouble making this little slip knot, don't worry. Watch this. The first thing we do is come through the V. Then I come up under the arc and over the top bar. And then finally down through this loop. Now I've got her on there. I just need to tighten up my rope a little bit. There she is. Then the next thing I need to remember is that these points in this step have to be just about even with the rope. So I lift up. Once I lift her up, then I can snap her in place. Now if I can do that, tell you, you can do that too.
So you see, it really isn't even a knot. It's just a very simple loop.
Now we're going to see how simple it is, because now we got to get it off the tree again, Jim. We got to put them away.
Well, that's one of the easiest things, Harry.
I like
Let me
that
get back
part.
up here.
Okay.
Again, you put your harness on.
Yep.
The easiest device in the world to take off the tree. All you do is unlock them.
Wow. You know, that really is something. And then you say it isn't a knot, and you're right, because it just comes apart as
That's
soon as
right.
you release the pressure.
See, if it were a knot, Harry, it would be so tight after we locked it on, we'd never get the knot loose.
Now, how many of these in this set, anyways, Jim? How many we get?
Well, this set has eight rungs in it. We're
Okay.
calling that a 16-foot ladder because typically we put the rungs 2 feet apart.
Okay.
But what I found is, and what I use, is the 12-rung set. The reason I do that is because I set up 2 stands every time I go out, a morning stand and an evening stand.
Oh.
And I set up at 16 feet.
So with 2.
So with 2, I go in and set up at 16 feet, which uses 8. When I come down out of the tree, I take off these bottom 4. Now, the reason I do that is 2 things. Number 1, they're so easy to put back on. And number 2, that puts my first rung up at 10 feet. Most people will walk by and not even see my stand.
And even if they see it, they can't reach it.
And they cannot reach it.
Okay.
You see the bottom 3 you put on from the ground anyway. Those are very, very easy. So the only one when you come back in the morning or the afternoon that you have to use your harness to put on is the 4th rung.
It really is a well thought out integrated system. Hey, I was going to ask you about how do we put them away. I'm beginning to see even this isn't too much
That's
of a chore.
all we do. We just tuck them back
They
in,
just
one
sort
on
of
top of the
stack
other.
on each other, and then you just stuff the rope down in the bag.
Just like a set of lawn chairs, Harry,
Now,
that's all.
because they go back in reverse order that they come out, the next time you take them out, they're going to come out exactly the way you want them to.
Exactly the way you want them to.
Boy.
Nothing to it.
You know, the only thing I have one criticism, Jim, and that's only one criticism I got. Why didn't you invent this 30 years ago when I started climbing trees?
Well, I only started bow hunting 5 years ago, Harry, so that's all there is to it, fellas. You just stuff those ropes back in the bag.
Jim, it is a super system, and I know it's going to work great for me this fall.
Well, thank you very much, Harry. If I can teach you how to use these things, I know anybody can use them. Folks, I know they're going to work well for you.